We all want our websites to work well. We expect our websites to succeed. But what exactly is success? How do you go about achieving success? My name is Matthew Edgar, and I recently wrote a book called Elements of a Successful Website, which talks about these questions. What is success? How do you achieve it? And especially, how do you achieve it if you're a small company? So let's start with what I think is probably the biggest question, which is defining what success really is. The first way that I think a lot of people really define success is by reach or traffic. How many people know about your organization? How many people visit your website? How many people find out that you exist? Ultimately, we want more than people just to visit our website. We want people to convert. And a conversion might be a sale, it might be a new lead, it could also be a registration for an event, it could be a subscription to our newsletter, it could be somebody searching for key information on our site, could even be somebody clicking on a really important link. Whatever that conversion might be, we want more of it. And the more conversions we have, the more successful our websites are. But how do we achieve that success? The common wisdom is that in order to get conversions, you have to make changes to your website. And I agree, you do need to make changes, but the catch is you need to make the right kind of changes. So what are those right kind of changes? In my experience, having worked with lots of different clients over the years, what the right kind of changes really come down to is that you have to make a lot of small changes. And these are the smaller, less risky changes where you're okay if things don't work out quite the way you intended. These are the changes where if things fail, you're okay with that because the failure can help you learn. That means you don't want to make large-scale bet the company changes that could lead to massive failure and disaster for not just your website, but your organization as well. So in my consulting work with clients over the years, I think there's really three main areas that clients have to focus on changing. The first of those areas is around the changes you have to make to better meet visitor expectations. The more we can help our visitors do whatever it is they want to do, the more likely it is they're going to want to visit our website. We'll get more traffic if the website is actually appealing for people. And if the website is appealing for whatever it is our visitors want, they might even come to our website and convert. But along with visitor expectations, our organization has expectations and needs as well. Our organization needs new customers. Our organizations need donors or subscribers or members. Whatever it is, we want to change the website to get more of those conversions. But even the best websites also have to make changes to the underlying technology that supports the website. Websites need to be fast. They need to be bug-free in order for the website to succeed. The biggest question clients always ask me as we go through these areas is which area matters most. Should they improve the website for visitors to better meet visitor expectations at the expense of their organization? Or should they prioritize improving technology before worrying about meeting those visitor expectations? And where do conversions fit in? I'll offer a slight spoiler for my book and tell you the answer that I've seen for all the different clients I've helped over the years. The answer is each area matters most. Websites that focus on the needs of their visitors while paying little or no attention to the economic needs of their organization are soon going to find themselves unable to pay for the website. Of course, websites focused solely on the needs of their organization while paying little or no attention to the needs of their visitors are soon going to find themselves with nobody visiting. If outdated or complicated technology prevents people from using your website or from converting, and if you can't find a way to work around those technical problems, failure is almost assured. So it isn't about picking one of these three areas over the other. Instead, you have to make changes to all three. And that means that successful websites have to find a right way to balance these different areas. A big part of striking that balance is remembering that your website is unique. What works for one website isn't going to work for every other website. By all means, you should learn from what other websites do. Try what they've done on your website. Test that out. But you can't copy exactly what they do and expect the same results. The way you balance technical issues, visitor expectations, and the needs of your organization will be unique because your organization is unique. When I tell clients this, that their website is unique, they start to feel overwhelmed. If I can't copy what somebody else has done, how will I ever make my website work, especially on a limited budget or with limited time? But you can. It requires starting small and starting simply. We don't want to make huge changes to our website, nor do we want to make changes to everything all at once. We want to make those changes that are small and less risky. What I've found is the key to making changes and finding the right way to balance your website requires thinking about 5 broad themes. First, you want to know how to keep your website simple and efficient to use. The harder and more difficult a website is to use, the less likely it is people will visit that website, and the less likely it is people who do visit will end up converting. Second, people don't want to be forced into converting as soon as they arrive on your website. They want some freedom to move around. But by offering freedom and giving people control to figure out how they're going to get from point A to point B, people might get lost or confused. And if they're lost or confused, they aren't going to convert. So you want to find the right way to balance offering control while still providing guidance. Third, maintaining consistency and following standards helps people learn how to use your website. Too much consistency, though, is really boring, and it can lead people to miss key elements on your website, like key elements that help them convert. So you have to know when to break the rules and be inconsistent. Fourth, you need to prevent the errors you can, but like it or not, some errors are going to occur. So what can you do to help people who encounter an error or who make a mistake? A big part of this is knowing which errors deserve your attention. And I go through a lot of ways to prioritize errors in my book. Finally, you need to remember that your visitors are real people with real expectations. Your website is there to solve some problem they're facing. That might be a product they need to buy, a question they need to answer, or some situation they find themselves in where they're coming to your website for a solution. So how can your website's features, functionality, language, text, images, and everything else really work to match people's expectations? The more it does, the more likely it is people are going to want to visit your website. They're going to see a reason to visit your website. And once they're on your website, they're going to see a really good reason to convert. Now, there are lots of questions within each of these themes. These are big, complicated areas that you have to consider. And I go through a lot more detail of what these questions are in my book. But what this ultimately comes down to is that your website's success requires a never-ending process of making changes. And those changes really need to be driven by these questions that you should consider. But as you go through these questions, the great news is there are no right or wrong answers. There's no absolute right way to build a successful website. And that's because your website's path to success is unique. And it's that process of finding your website's unique path that I discuss in Elements of a Successful Website. Because ultimately, success for your website is possible. It requires asking a lot of questions and making deliberate changes. But if you use these 5 themes as a guide, you can find the right way to balance visitor expectations, organizational needs, and the technical reality you find yourself in to get to a point where you can achieve success, both in terms of getting a lot of traffic to your site and getting a lot of conversions. I've had the opportunity to see so many websites achieve success. Over the last 15 or so years, I've worked with hundreds of clients from super small organizations with little to no time or money and really large organizations, and walked them through these 5 themes to help them find how they can succeed. From e-commerce to nonprofit to B2B to B2C sites in a lot of different industries, it's these themes that guide the changes that lead to the right way to balance your website and achieve success. So I really hope if you're running your website and you're trying to figure out how do I get more conversions, how do I get more traffic, that you will check out my book, Elements of a Successful Website. It's available right now in paperback or for your Kindle on Amazon. If you do read my book, I'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts. Please connect with me on Twitter or send me an email with any questions you might have. Thank you, and I wish you much success.